mechanical reality. The Evoque's transmission, especially in versions that came to the American market before 2018, is a consistent source of complaints. Automatic transmission failures, erratic behavior at elevated temperatures, which is absolutely common in the American climate, and repair costs that can easily exceed $7,000 to $10,000 in a single intervention. The engine also isn't far behind in complaints. Problems with the cooling system, premature component wear, and the cost of authorized service intervals, which is significantly higher than most buyers' project at the time of purchase. Evoque depreciation is accelerated exactly by the weight of this information in the market. Experienced buyers know the history, and this depresses resale value. Whoever bought a zero-mile Evoque expecting to preserve a good part of the value paid dearly for that expectation. Second place, silver. Here's where it starts getting heavy. Whoever has this car in the garage will recognize every single point. The Infiniti QX50 is an SUV that comes to the American market with a very seductive proposition. Japanese design with an accent of American luxury, cutting-edge embedded technology, high-quality interior finish, and the argument of the variable compression engine, which Infiniti presents as an efficiency revolution. The problem is that the CVT transmission that accompanies this revolutionary engine became the Achilles heel for a good portion of owners. The CVT was designed to be smooth and efficient, and under ideal conditions, it fulfills that role. But in intense urban use, on long climbs in higher load situations, it presents behavior that owners describe in various ways, but with one common conclusion: it is not what the car promises. Complaints range from lack of immediate response and acceleration to overheating and failures that take the car to the shop with less than 2 years of use. The QX50's fuel economy in the 2024 and 2025 versions runs around 24 mpg in the city and 31 on the highway numbers that are UND bad, but also don't justify the cost of ownership when placed alongside the transmission's reliability history. The price in reference tables varies between $42,000 and $45,000 for the most recent models. But first-year depreciation is significant. Infiniti's limited presence in America also weighs on maintenance costs and the availability of parts and qualified service. But before first place, I need to ask you a question that's going to make a lot of sense in just a moment. Are you thinking about buying an SUV right now? Or are you thinking about selling one you already own? Tell us in the comments, because both situations benefit in different ways from what comes next. And if this content is being useful to you, this is the right time to hit that like button, because it helps this video reach people who are about to make a purchase decision that could cost them dearly. First place, gold. The most resold in the first year of ownership, the regret champion of the premium SUV market in America. You want to know which one it is? Of course you do. But before revealing it, let me paint the complete picture, because first place will make a lot more sense with this context. There's a very specific buyer profile at the heart of this phenomena. It's someone who traded a $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 car for a $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 SUV, motivated by a combination of aspiration, real need for space, and a piece of vanity that every car buyer carries with them. This buyer researched, went to the dealership, test drove, negotiated financing, and felt really good about the decision. 6 months later, when the first problems appear, they discover that the car they bought for $55,000 is going to cost $4,000 for service outside warranty, or that an electronic part will take 3 weeks to arrive, or that the dealership doesn't have a technician available for their specific model. That's when regret turns into action. And the action is selling the car at a loss before the problem gets worse. First place goes to the Mercedes-Benz GLE. Yes, the three-pointed star. The car that represents the top of the pyramid. For many American buyers, the one that appears in dreams and career goals is also the one that most concentrates sales from owners who want out before the cost becomes unbearable. The GLE impresses in every way at first contact. The 3.0-liter inline-six twin-turbo engine of the 450 version delivers 362 horsepower and torque of almost 369 pounds-ft with smooth acceleration, high-caliber response, and a driving sensation that justifies much of the price. Fuel economy, however, runs around 19 mpg in the city and 23 on the highway numbers that in American urban routine mean a considerable fuel bill every single month. The interior is impeccable. Top-tier materials, configurable infotainment system, high-resolution digital panel, complete connectivity, premium quality sound system, and generous interior space for the whole family. This is what appears in the test drive. What doesn't appear in the test drive is what happens after the warranty. The GOE's electronic components, especially the active suspension system, driver assistance features, and control modules, have a history of failures that appears in reliability analyses consistently. When they appear, these problems don't cost the price of a bolt. That's why it leads the ranking. Not because it's a bad car in the objective sense. It's an extraordinary car in performance and luxury. It's because the distance between what it promises and what it costs to keep alive and healthy is large enough to make owners rethink the decision still in the first year. And it's exactly here that the biggest lesson of this video fits in. The most expensive car isn't the one with the highest price on the sticker. The most expensive car is the one you didn't calculate properly before buying. Research, ownership, history, real maintenance costs, parts availability in America, depreciation profile, and conversation with other owners of the model are steps that save you from losses that no monthly payment can finance. You made it this far, so you're exactly the type of buyer who makes smarter decisions than average. If this video made sense to you, drop a like now because it has enormous weight for the channel. Share it with someone who's about to buy an SUV because a 2-minute conversation can save months of headaches. And if you want to continue on this journey of discovering what the market does and tell you about the cars you want, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. There's a lot more content like this coming, and you won't want to miss any of it. See you in the next video. You bought your dream SUV, felt that unmistakable new car smell, showed it off to family, posted it on social media, and a few months later, that bitter feeling nobody wants to feel hits you. Regret. This happens to way more people than you'd think, and today you're going to find out why. Because a market survey that analyzed tens of millions of resale transactions in the United States and around the world revealed that some of the best-selling SUVs are exactly the ones owners try to get rid of within the first year. Stay until the end because this list will surprise you, and if you're thinking about buying an SUV right now, what? You're about to see here could save you from a loss into hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you like honest content about cars, SUVs worth the investment, smart maintenance, and the traps of the American auto market, subscribe to the channel now and leave notifications turned on. Here we don't sell you dreams, we show you reality before it shows up on your dealership bill. Before we get to number 1 on this list, which is going to leave a lot of people stunned, I need to tell you something that most buyers never discover at the time of purchase. You know, when the salesman shows you that beautiful spreadsheet with the down payment, the monthly payments, insurance included, and that special end-of-month discount. He doesn't show you the other spreadsheet, the one that appears in year 2 when the warranty starts shrinking and problems start popping up. Keep this line of reasoning in mind because it's going to make a lot of sense throughout this video. Let's start with number 6. And I'll warn you right now that 6th place is already controversial enough to generate comments. Tell us in the comments if you own or have owned any of the cars on this list, because real accounts from people who lived it firsthand are the best gauge there is. 6th place goes to the Volkswagen Taos. Yes, that compact SUV that arrived full of promises to the American market with the appeal of a German brand, a more accessible price within the premium segment, and styling that pleased a lot of people. The problem is, the Taos brought along a transmission that became a source of lament in owner groups all across America. The dual clutch transmission, the same one Volkswagen uses in several models, presents a stop-and-go behavior, especially in slow urban traffic, exactly the kind of driving any resident of New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or any American capital faces every day. Complaints about lurching, hesitation during low-speed acceleration, and transmission noises were already known before the U.S. launch in other markets. But that didn't stop the model from being launched and sold in high volume. The cost of transmission maintenance when it goes to the shop outside of warranty is steep, and depreciation has already started showing up in reference tables for the first batches. This doesn't mean the Taos is garbage, because on the highway it performs well and fuel economy runs around 25 mpg in the city and 32 on the highway, which is acceptable for the category. What it means is you need to keep your eyes wide open when evaluating it. 5th place, and here comes a name that will surprise those who buy cars based on brand status. The Jeep Compass, one of America's best-selling SUVs for several consecutive years, ranks among the most resold within a first year of ownership. How can one of the country's best-selling cars be on the list of ones owners want to get rid of? Exactly because of that. High sales volume also means high volume of complaints, and Compass complaints form a concerning pattern. The 9-speed ZF transmission that equips the best-selling versions of the model is cited in complaints with striking frequency, lurching during gear changes, failures in gear recognition, irregular behavior on inclines and the multimedia center, which is one of Jeep's selling points, also concentrates complaints of freezing, spontaneous rebooting, and loss of functions. Maintenance costs within scheduled service intervals is reasonable thanks to Jeep's extensive dealer network across America. But when a non-standard problem appears, the conversation changes. Long wait times for parts and labor that doesn't always know the model in depth are recurring complaints. Compass depreciation is accelerated by the number of units on the market, which drives down resale prices faster than most buyers calculate when closing the deal. The most sought-after model in the used tables, the 2018 limited version, which costs around $32,000 when new. Today you'll find 4 considerably lower values depending on maintenance history. Halfway there! Before we get to the podium, you've already noticed a pattern here, right? Transmission, electronics, expensive maintenance. This pattern will appear in the next positions with even greater intensity. Drop a like now if you're relearning something you didn't know before this video. It really helps the channel keep bringing this type of content. 4th place, Land Rover Discovery Sport. This one is for a different audience. Whoever buys a Discovery Sport is usually looking for the Land Rover name with a slightly lower entry ticket than the Range Rover. And it's exactly this proposition that hides the trap. The Discovery Sport is an SUV with premium brand DNA, which means maintenance costs, parts, and labor are also premium, but without necessarily delivering the reliability a buyer paying $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 above market would expect. The electrical and electronic systems of the Discovery Sport have a documented history of failures ranging from parking sensors that stop working to failures in the traction management system, which is exactly the main reason someone buys a Land Rover. The suspension, which is another of the brand's central promises, shows accelerated wear beyond what the segment justifies. Especially for the heavy urban use most Americans put their cars through. When it comes out of warranty, the owner of a Discovery Sport in America faces a dangerous combination of imported priced parts, wait times at dealerships, and difficulty finding qualified technical assistance outside the major cities. No wonder the model appears prominently in first-year resale data. 3rd place. And now we reach the podium. Bronze goes to the Range Rover Evoque. The Evoque is one of the most emblematic cases of how design and brand can sell a car that mechanics and electronics do UNC support in the long term. Launched with great aesthetic, appeal compact urban, visually sophisticated, the Evoque won over an audience looking for status with mobility. The problem starts when status meets